Hey gang, Ronan here. As you can see in this game, I'm playing the relatively new uh, Tier 9 destroyer Jäger. The Jäger is, well, I think it's very fun. This was the third game I played in this ship. And I haven't really played a lot of games in this ship. But I do think it is very fun. In terms of matchmaking, well, there is a CV on the enemy team and there's no smoke on this thing. So that can be really, really bad. Now, what is the silver lining? Well, the Jäger is really small. I mean, it's like, it's difficult to judge because I haven't done anything to actually. I know it's available, I just haven't done it to measure it. But the Jäger looks like it's like Minakaza sized. You know, it's not a really big destroyer. And as you can see, I've got with the commander concealment skill and the concealment module, you get the detectability range to 5.4 kilometers. So it's not a big ship. So it's not easy for a CV to hit, but if somebody knows what they're doing and they are determined, the Jäger's going to really struggle. What can I tell you about it? Well, base HP 15,900. Plainly, I'm using a commander skill to pick up a little bit more HP. You get 4 racks of torpedoes on this thing, which you can see there, and with that many torpedoes and basically a minute-long reload, I'm willing to put them out there. So let's give you the particulars, the rundown on this thing. You got 3 150 millimeter guns, which, yeah, that sounds good, 150 millimeters. But these guns, they are not going to help you much. 4.3 second base reload, firing range of only 9.46 kilometers, and the dispersion's only 85 meters, but with only 3 of them, when you fire your guns, if there's somebody that's willing to keep you spotted, you're just making yourself a target. The maximum HE shell damage is 2200 with an 11% fire chance and initial HE shell velocity of 880 meters per second. So if there's something running away from you, it is absolutely pointless, in my opinion, to spend a whole lot of time firing at them, unless you think 1 shell or 2 shells can finish them off. AP shells, well, they hit pretty hard. If you get close enough to make use of them, they can do a maximum damage of 2,950. Initial AP velocity is the same as the HE, 880 meters per second. Now, the torpedoes. This is, of course, what this ship is really all about. You can see I'm radio located as well. And the Z-46, he is, fortunately for me, he's moving away, because if he pushed at me and the direction that I was heading, he could have caught me with hydro, and that would have been really bad. The torpedoes, you get 4 racks, 3 torpedoes per rack, so you can put out 12 at a time, as you saw there a second ago. And they are really fast. The base speed is 86 knots, which I think mine are running a little bit faster than that, with a range of 12 kilometers, which is pretty decent, really. And the thing about them is that the max damage that they do is 7,533 HP. 7,533. So at these tiers, the battleships, which are going to very often make up the bulk of what you're trying to hit with these things, their torpedo damage reduction is going to make your damage next to nothing in a lot of cases. So really what you're hoping for is damage over time. Now that can come in the form of, and I've done, I mean, I had games where I just kind of conscientiously decided, I am going to fire 2 racks, hope I get a hit. And then if I do, and there's a flood, I'll wait to see if the ship repairs, and if it does, I will put the other 2 racks of torpedoes in the water in an attempt to get a perma flood. You can also use your guns to light fires, but because you've only got 3 of them and a not really great fire chance, it's risky at times. So those are the particulars of the weapon systems. The maximum speed, 37 knots, is your base max speed, and I will give you the pros and cons according to the World of Warships Wiki Pros. 4 triple torpedo launchers provide excellent flexibility. That's questionable. I'm not sure it's the flexibility that I would focus on. It's the damage over time. Very good torpedo range. Torpedoes are fast and reload quickly. Torpedo range is decent. I don't know that I would call it very good. I'm just trying to break line of sight, and I didn't want to show broadside. I wasn't as worried about getting all the torpedoes away as I was getting away. You can see I'm already taking fire. And Z46 is going to make an attempt here to spot me again. And I'm trying to make that painful for him. As I try to break line of sight again, you can see I'm taking some damage. The ship is very small, not easy to hit. And I'm guessing his hydro is up. Now he doesn't have 6 kilometer range on his hydro, but I think it's probably up, and he was able to detect all those torpedoes. Now it is very, very likely that he's got torpedoes away on either the Zhao or the Shima, the Shikishima that you see out there on the one line. We'll see in a minute. Salmon torpedoed the Z46, and he's out of the game. So right now, the red team is down to Smolensk and a Z46. The good guys down just to Mino, although our Nevsky and Daring are both really banged up. So getting back to the pros, triple torpedo launchers, 4 of them, good torpedo range, they're fast. Main guns have a high fire chance for a destroyer, but that's if you're using your guns, I'm saying things probably aren't going all that well for you, or the game's a complete blowout the other way and your team can't lose regardless. It's got a repair party, which is super nice, because if you're targeted, at least in my experience, if you get targeted in this thing by anybody or detected by anybody that can is very likely to get guns pointed your way and try to do that. And as I pointed out at the very beginning, fantastic concealment when fully upgraded. 5.4 kilometers is really, really nice. Now we've got a Kurfürst that's kind of pushing in here. I got to be careful not to just put the torpedoes into the back of the salmon here. Kurfürst is turning. He may just turn around and run. The torpedoes may have the speed to catch him. Okay, so the cons. According to the WoW's wiki, the cons of this ship: very weak firepower, only 3 main guns with very low DPM. Very short range main guns. Torpedoes deal very low damage, have a low flood chance, and have a high detectability, which is all true. And virtually non-existent AA defenses. It literally says Jäger is helpless against enemy planes. And it does lack the smoke generator. So it is a very specialized ship. Now, the salmon, I am happy to put guns on. He doesn't have a lot of HP, and these guns have some chance of helping finish him off, which in this case is exactly what happened because they can do a max HE shell damage of 2200. And given where he was, I thought, okay, it's worthwhile. Now, should I be moving toward the cap? Yeah, probably. But like I said, this was literally the 3rd game I played in the ship. I was still trying to get a feel for it. And I will head that way. I want to get out ahead of our Shikishima. There's still a gearing in the game, although it looks like he's in the Delta Cap right now. But the gearing has kilometers with a 16.5 kilometer, has torpedoes with a 16.5 kilometer range. And our salmon, he is going to be able to most likely get that cap secured. You can see the CV is now focused on what's going on in Bravo cap. I don't have smoke, so I am playing it ultra conservative. Now I will turn the AA on here, but you can see the tiny little circle around my ship where the AA is actually doing anything. It is like the WoW's wiki says, it is pretty much helpless against enemy aircraft. Now, I've hit the speed boost in an effort to just make it harder to hit this ship. It's already hard to hit. And the Malta is focused entirely on hitting the battleship. Now, why do I continue this way? Well, you may be saying to yourself, that's kind of crazy, Shikishima doesn't need your help, etc. But there is something down here. There's something in the southern corner. Now, maybe it's just somebody that disconnected. Maybe it's somebody that had to get up, go and answer the door. Maybe somebody, has to help their wife or make the bed for their mom or whatever. But whatever it is, it is a potential threat to the Shikishima. That's, I think, why he is still heading south and why I'm heading south. We're down a ship, so we've only got 7 ships left. And the red team still has all but 4. I need to get to within 12 kilometers, and Malta knows that. Malta is turning the AA on. Look at that. I shot down a second aircraft. It's kind of miraculous. Now, the Montana looks to me to have either just gone AFK, and he ran himself into a corner to prevent himself being sunk early, or he's disconnected. But either way, this is kind of a free kill for the Shikishima and I. And now that I'm within 12 kilometers range, I just have to decide how close do I want to get to try and maximize the number of torpedoes that I'm able to put into the side. And I'm going to give it a little bit of a break here. And then put the last batch out. And now I need to head back out there to help our salmon. We do have a points lead because we've got 2 caps. The bad guys only have 1, and our Thunderer actually is trying to secure the Charlie cap. Shikishima is really beat up. Really beat up. And I'm going to move back here close enough to be able to get another set of torpedoes out if needs be. Because if we're able to finish off this Montana, that's going to really help us with the game. Schlieffen torpedoes the gearing. That really kind of secures the game right there. So what do I think of this destroyer? Well, I think it's fun to play. Now, there have been some really frustrating games in this thing. If a CV focuses you, you are just in a world of hurt. If you're caught out alone, it's just kind of all over. There's not much you can do. You can't outrun aircraft, of course, and there's really no way for you to get undetected once they find you. If they decide to stay over the top of you with aircraft, they can, and if there are surface ships around, they will just pummel you until you're sunk. And that's probably going to be enough to finish off that Montana. So I'm going to start moving to the center of the map. Both teams now have lost 5 ships, but I think the Montana is about to be sunk. That's going to put the bad guys down a ship. We have a points lead. And salmon floods out the De Grosse. Yeah, I'm going to put most of these on target. And I think that's going to do it for Montana. He should flood out. So I would say overall, I like playing this ship. It is fun. It's kind of, in a way, kind of like playing a Tier 9 kamikaze. You know, if you have that ship, that'll make sense. Or if you ever played the Minakaze before the Imperial Japanese Navy rework of their destroyers. The Minakaze basically used to be kind of a slightly better kamikaze before they nerfed it. Or another way to look at it, if you have the Venom, which can put out even more torpedoes. It's kind of like a slightly nerfed Venom. It doesn't put out quite as many torpedoes. They don't hit quite as hard, but they're really, really fast. And you can get really close before you drop them. Now, 12 kilometers range, while according to the WoW's wiki is, how did they say it exactly? Very good torpedo range. I disagree. I think it's okay. Not very good. You know, you've got other destroyers in these tiers that have longer ranges, but it's decent. And if you try to stay kind of at the longer edge of that range, you can see that he was trying to, the aircraft were trying to get position on the Zhao, but I turned on the AA just to try to help out whatever I could. This game really isn't actually over, right? Zhao is still in pretty good shape. The red Zhao, and the Malta finishes off our Zhao. So while we have a commanding points lead, our Shikishima, he's nearly dead. Our salmon, he's nearly dead. And I'm just kind of really hoping that I can finish off the Malta, because the Malta is really, at least in my opinion, the big threat to our ships. Did I light the world on fire here? No. 98,000 damage and 2 kills, 13 torpedo hits. Looks like I did something, but the reality is I didn't. I caught a Montana in the corner of the map that was probably AFK. That was the majority of my points here. And if you fast forwarded through this, I wouldn't blame you even a little bit. I have 2 other replays of the Jäger after I had played it a little bit more and really kind of got a feel for it. But I wanted to give you the rundown on the statistics on the ship. The WoW's wiki will tell you about it. And in the hope that it might interest you enough to watch the next 2. I'm imagining you probably sped through this to the very end. And if you did, I can tell you I really didn't do much in this game despite the 100,000 damage. But I have 2 more replays coming up where I actually had kind of figured out how I wanted to play it and feel like I played very good games that ended up being good games. So thank you for spending a little bit of time with me here, whether you watched the whole thing or if you just sped through it. Either way, I hope you enjoyed this. If you don't have the Jäger, but you like destroyer play, torpedo boat destroyer play in particular, I think you could probably find some fun with this ship as the red team continues to do all they can to stay in the game. But it's just not going to be enough. Thanks again for joining me here. If you enjoyed this or any of my other content, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.
Maschinenboost aktiviert. Gut gemacht, Captain.